Hello everyone, it's Andy Glenn here, welcoming you all to another Sharks TV podcast. And it's Martin Grubb with me this week. Martin, how you doing?
Good, Andy, how are you?
I'm brilliant, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. And it's great to have hockey back.
It's great to have hockey back and Oasis back.
And Oasis back, right. Well, we'll need to talk about this right now, because in the last podcast, if you haven't watched it, why have you not watched it? It's golden, and it's going to go down in history as Mystic Martin's best prediction, because at the end of the podcast you asked me a question about which band you would like to get reformed, and you answered your own question by saying Oasis, and later on they reform. I didn't realise they'd shared and subscribed to this channel, but well done. Appreciate that, Gallagher Brothers.
We're still waiting on our tickets, aren't we? If Liam and Noel want to send some tickets our way, then
some comps would be appreciated. You're going to be going to that gig though, aren't you, man?
I certainly hope so. I'll be like every other person that's looking for a ticket, sitting online on Saturday trying to refresh and get in a queue, and who knows, but I'll certainly be doing all I can to try and get a ticket. I'm just going to have to roll with it, Andy.
Stop it. Are you going to be predicting any other bands to reform this week, or is it just a one-off?
I think we'll let's get the weekend past.
We'll get the weekend past and see where we're at.
It's just a bit too stressful right now, so we'll get the weekend past, see how we go for there, and then maybe we'll see who we plan to attack next, and see if we can reform somebody else. And
as long as we get tickets for the gig.
100%. That's the key.
We're sorted. Right, well, let's get back to the main topic, which is hockey. Glasgow Clan last weekend. I wasn't at the game, either of the games, but from what I've heard from fans and some players, it's been a real good Glasgow Clan team and a real good Sharks performance as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that we discussed over the weekend was it was never about the scoreboard and kind of trying to play the scoreboard. Glasgow came in here. This was their first game. That team's first game under a new coach in Corey. And I know Corey, and I know I've had his kids in my GB team, and I kind of knew how detailed they would be, how fast they would come to play. And really for us, we discussed trying to get to that tempo, that compete level as quick as we can, and try and skate with them as long as we could. We knew we'd have to play quite a lot of D-zone, and it's a really good element for us to pick up on in our first weekend of pre-season, and then try and be as creative as we could on the puck. Corey has clearly, as you say, he's built a good team. They're quick, they move the puck well. They were ruthless against us to show a little bit of that, that golf and class was there for everybody to see. It's 15 imports versus 3. It's a massive gap, but I thought the boys did well. I thought the games were competitive. I thought they were entertaining. Both sets of fans were fantastic, and a nice friendly atmosphere as well. I think there was never any danger of kind of turning nasty. There was respect for both coaches, both sets of staff, and both sets of players. So, albeit you look on the scoreboard and you see the results, it was still very worthwhile for us. And it's not, me, it's not very often I'm sitting here after we've been beaten and been relatively happy, but really, really quite happy to where we were, where we are. 120 minutes in the legs at that intensity. If we can find a way to play at that level for as many games in the season as possible, ideally all of them, we'll win a hell of a lot more than we lose.
Well, to be fair to you, in the last podcast you did say it wasn't about winning. You made that clear before the game. It's not a case of looking after a game and saying something else. And I actually thought, I listened to the interviews you and Corey made after the game with Owen. They were really good, and I thought he came over really nice as well. He was very complimentary about our team. We've had a look at the highlights, but you're going to have a little mini coaches corner this week, and tell us what you think on the review of the games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got the goals here that are out on our highlights package. So again, like you always say, if you've not watched them or liked, shared and subscribed, then make sure you watch them and
absolutely
do what you need to do. But I think some of this shows that just some of the different details. Like early doors there, we lose a goal early. We can just go back because it was that early. Power play comes across. I actually don't think the guy got a piece of it properly, and it took a little deflection in front of Marsden. You know, and before we know it, first PP and we're a goal down. This one, that Dupree, I mean, he played in the NHL. I thought he was a quality operator all weekend, and he's just picked the.
Mason got a big hit on him as well, though, didn't he?
On the Sunday night, yeah. I mean, again, it's just part of being competitive, and but you see for here, obviously the camera angle, it's hard. It's a hard shot right along the ice, and this is where we start to run into trouble. You see here that I think 6 of the goals maybe 8 of the goals over the weekend were rebounds, and you know Jordan's done his job there. He's made a save, and they were just quicker. Their instincts were quicker around the net. They're a wee bit stronger than us, and that's probably the harsh lesson because it's a decent save with his shoulder. You know, Liam tries to fish the puck, and maybe rather than going for the guy's stick. This was a good moment. I mean, obviously, Dunny scores for us, and you know, at 3-0, you're kind of thinking we want to get on the board.
Aye.
And we had a little bit of ozone time, and then you know we've capitalised on them being a little bit ragged at that stage, and I think Dunny ended up banking it in off the goalie. So you know, that was nice for us just to get on the board. And then we go back to similar again. You know, it's a scramble. It sticks. We've got to be a little bit better at tying sticks up, and they're just bigger, stronger. And again, you could see they were ruthless around the net. So that one was a big set of goals. It's a harsh lesson, but it's a good lesson to learn because I think if you think right back to, that was just a mistake, but you think back to where we discussed a few times, and I used the term we were out NIHL'd last year.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was stick detail. And this is kind of the same, you know. We've got a guy stick in the high slot, but we don't do anything with it, and we let him tip the puck in. Goalie's not going to make a save when it's tipped there. It's a high tip. Marsden's going one way, but the puck goes the other. So it's using this again as a learning experience of we need to be better on our stick detail. We need to play through hands a wee bit better. You know. Similar there, but it's just moving pucks, and it was difficult for us. You know, it was difficult to play in that D zone. And then when you go into the
Sunday game.
The Sunday game.
What was your thoughts before the Sunday game? After
the Sunday game, you know, I kind of thought what happened would happen. I thought we'd come out really tired because that level on the Saturday was through the roof for first game of pre-season. You know, probably
just in terms of speed
at our level. Yeah, I think that you know the players put everything into it, and they never stopped working. And the thing I liked, you know, over both games, but we got everybody on the ice. You know, the kids. You know, I know we've had the young guys on the podcast, and we kind of laughed when Bailey was saying, "I can get a couple of shifts," but they played, and I know they
did they look out of place?
Oh, obviously there's that element of 6 foot plus ex-AHL, NHL, DEL guys against some of our kids. There was a massive difference in terms of a man against a boy type, but they worked hard. They done well. Like, you know, they skated well enough. They competed. They never shied away from anything. There was a few of the shifts, especially with the young guys, we said, you know, just don't get scored on. And I don't think maybe one each night at best. Like, they done well enough there.
Did you enjoy their experience?
And you know, that was the thing I was going to finish. You know, they came off with a smile on their face, and they're going to remember that if they can get again as close to that level as possible with their work rate and their skating and, you know, their compete level, they're going to dominate wherever they go and play. So I think it was a great experience. But
it's not a bad game to get your debut on, is it? 1,200 people in
you know, it's
the
it's memorable for them.
Yeah,
it's memorable,
absolutely.
And you know, and obviously their families and their friends and whatever were there. But you know, you just kind of going back to the original question. Yeah, I thought we would start slow, just because we came in and, you know, they worked, but they just looked a bit lethargic to start because they were trying to recover still properly. And we got caught cold, and we'll see just as we start these in a second. I think the first goal it might even be under a minute.
Caruth was on the Clan first line.
To the opening
for
draw.
the,
It was nice for Kyle to see that, getting that again, the debut, and it's probably a nice little touch, the debut against ourselves.
But obviously we're not speaking to him because he won that game.
Yeah, I mean, you see it here. I think we were kind of laughing. We won the opening draw on him, so we had that little bit. But then, before you know it, it's just over an hour, a minute gone.
70 seconds.
And same thing. It's a stick. It's a tie-up. It's, it's just a bit heavier and stronger than us. And the one thing, and speaking to Corey, obviously, after games, and he wanted his team to come out and prove on both nights that they could play and play to a high tempo quickly. So they were never going to come and just feel their way into the game. They were still wanting to prove that they're playing at a high level. Again, this doesn't help. It's just it's an individual error, and we're not going to go over it and belittle anybody on it. But it doesn't help against a good hockey team when you put yourself 2-0 down for making your own mistakes and leaving a guy kind of coming down Broadway like that. So first period we did find, there's no hiding it. We found that a little bit difficult, and probably in all our heads we're thinking, like, please don't let this be a kind of absolute hammer. 3-0 up with just over 10 minutes played. It could have went south, and again it's similar. They're just kind of moving pucks, and this one was a power play goal.
It's a power play, wasn't it? Yeah.
Another tip in, which was never a bad thing. We've discussed our special teams on this podcast numerous times, and we actually got better as we went on. We caught off a partial 5-3 further down the line. But again, sticks. You could see it every goal. It's a stick. It's either a rebound or a tip in. And so that part we have to learn. And we did learn as the end of this period. We regrouped, and we got a little bit better in the second. In the third period we ended up tying the period. And we knew they would slow down a bit and potentially relax a little bit more, especially in the third period. And it might sound crazy for us, but we kind of thought, let's just try and finish the 6 periods with winning the last one. This one you can see was 10 minutes into the period, and we had actually held our own and done well and had a couple of chances ourselves. But they're ruthless. And I guess that's one of the keys to the whole weekend. The tempo for one, a bit of the puck movement, but there's another one. Cal makes the save. It's kind of bouncing. And they just finish their chances, and it becomes tough. We leave a guy at the back door. Callum actually got a piece of that, and I think it shows the angles, and it ends up in the net. More banking off of Callum's pad, and it looks. I think you've got to look at both goalies were good. I think Callum and Jordan were good over the weekend, and it's not a bad thing that they got a lot of rubber. Then we get through. Garzy kind of bullies his way through, and
he just muscled his way through.
I know him and Olivier enjoyed playing at this level again, and for this one it's a little shout out. Owen Ray got an assist on this one, so I guess his official senior debut against an elite league team, and he's got an assist. Then we work this one really well. Liam comes to the back door, he takes their eyes away, and Scotty's in that bumper roll. And we managed to get a power play goal there, which was really well worked. So that
I was pleased that Scott.
Pleasing.
I was pleased that Scott got off the mark early in the season.
Yeah, I mean,
hope it bodes well for the rest of the season for him.
It's nice for that whole line there. It's nice to just get something early, get something going. Again, as I say, you see Liam coming into the back door. Just that middle guy's eyes go for a second. And then this one goes bar down. They go back up the ice. I knew in my mind that they were never going to want to lose a period to us. So they've went there. They've pushed a wee bit and tried to win the period, and we've held firm and ended up, tying a period with them. So I thought overall valuable experience. It showed. Of course, we always knew it. We have work to do. It's our first 2 games. I've said it to the players as well. If we were and almost close to perfect, you're probably worried. And now we get a different experience this weekend, and we'll kind of try and flip the way it was on the weekend, where we hopefully are the team with a little bit more of the puck than Edinburgh this weekend, and then we'll go into the GB weekend, and ultimately, like as we said and we've touched on already, it all comes down to that opening night, being ready to play.
Yeah.
Whether we win or lose again, these next 2 weekends still is irrelevant. Of course, we want to win now, but it still is irrelevant because it's about building, taking steps forward, making sure that we are ready for the opening puck drop of the season, regular season, and when points have been handed out.
It's a chance in the next 4 games for players who to make a name for themselves and put themselves in the forefront of your mind, isn't it?
100%. I mean, I think pre-season you can almost play your way in and play your way out of lineups in certain situations. And again, I was really pleased that over the weekend we managed to get everybody on the ice. Obviously, as we've said, for that opening face-off, we managed to get Kyle his chance to skate in Glasgow. I mean, this weekend, Kyle and Cian are both going to go to Germany with the clan, so they've showed enough on the little two-way, and credit to Corey and the clan organisation for putting their faith in the young guys and giving them that experience to go. So again, it opens a door for some of the young guys skating with us, and ultimately it's still minutes. It's minutes in the legs. It's just getting comfortable with some of the line combinations and the kind of connections we want to make, and giving us a chance to play to our systems. They will have to skate on Saturday regardless, because some of them might not have played in as big a rink as Murrayfield. It's a big ice surface, so that also adds some conditioning into it for us. But we're really happy with last weekend. It was nice to see Glasgow also with that team and playing in the right way for everybody, including fans, but including us as coaches. There's some good learning experiences there, and a good relationship starting to be built already with the conversations we've had back and forward with Corey. So we've got to be pleased, and now it's about kind of stepping things up this weekend, the next weekend, and as we say, being ready to go.
So from your perspective, the next 4 games, is it about confirming the lines that you've got in your head, or is it about experimenting with potentially new lines, or what?
A bit of both. I'd like to see some of the definite connections kind of being solidified, and I always try and make it like put our lines together in pairs. If we can get a couple of pairs like with proper connections, then it's easier to fit guys in, and it gives you a little bit then of flexibility to change things. But I guess Nolan and Dunny are already pretty dynamic together, to be fair. Callie was in there last weekend. He'll probably start there this weekend. He may change. We maybe stick. For example, Mason and Young are actually good together, but Mace is a left-hander, so he may go up there. We know Kieran can play. He played with Dunny and Peaks last year, so he could play up and down the lineup wherever. I thought last weekend young Joe Lynch worked super hard and showed that he can be an asset when we need him. Obviously, we're hoping that Connor may play some part this weekend, but if not, certainly before pre-season's out with his injury. Again, thought Owen was really good, so we might mix up the D pairings, because we know the top 4 of Olivier and Kel, Liam and Kersey have been together for a whole year last year, so we know they can play. So we might move that around. We'll try and get Logan some ice time this weekend as well. On top of it,
nice.
I think it's going to be probably Marzi and Logan all weekend, because this is one of the on-calls that Callum couldn't get off with it being pre-season, and would rather he worked the pre-season one than the regular.
Sure.
There'll be a bit of everything. There'll be a bit of trying to consolidate some stuff. There'll be a bit of still experimentation. We've talked about continuous improvement, so we expect every time we hit the ice to be a little bit better than the time before. So we'll be looking for a little bit more offense for sure this weekend. And us trying to be like Glasgow, we're trying to be ruthless around the net front, and make sure that we're solid right through all 3 zones and playing with a lot of speed. So hopefully that's how it pans out, but we'll make adjustments as we go. So with
Cian and Kyle in Germany, are we hoping that Joe Lynch will play for us this weekend, or will he switch between the 2 teams, or will he be a capital all weekend?
He'll definitely play for Edinburgh. The plan at this stage will be to play here for us, and try and kind of split that. Stephen and I have been discussing it regularly, and we're both very open to see what happens. So we'd like to try and split the weekend for Joe, but it's probably let's see how it goes, and we've got options on that. It depends on other guys' fitness for both teams. So I'd like to see Joe ideally playing for us here, and happy for him to play in Edinburgh. Ultimately, it is a two-way, and they're the parent club, so we've got a respect between the clubs anyway. So that'll work.
Well, he's got to fit into the his
100%.
parent club systems as well. So that's what Stephen will be trying to do.
100%. And obviously, Stephen and I have grown up together. We played together right through our club.
It's the Fife Mafia again, isn't it? That's what it is.
It's easy that way, at least to. And I guess that's why we sent. Kyle was there 1 year, and Kyle and Chevy were there at parts, and that's why we're quite happy to continue that relationship, because we're going to good coach and good club, good fan base. So it works. So we'll work together on that and see where Joe ends up. It might allow us to bring another younger player from juniors. Thomas Verostek has been skating with us.
What do you think? Maybe Thomas will get listed?
So Thomas may be able to jump into the lineup. And again, ultimately it's what pre-season's about, right? If we can get Bailey again more ice, Owen more ice, if we can get Thomas in the lineup. Torrin Anderson was with us last weekend, he'll be with us again. We'll see where Torrin goes. So it's definitely trial and error, because as we said, ultimately the kind of more experienced guys know how to maximise pre-season. If we can help the young guys get up to speed as quick as we can, then it gives us competition for places, which is never a bad thing in any group. And then if we've got some tough decisions to make come opening night, then again, it's me that's got to make them, but it's never a bad thing.
We do seem to have a lot of quite close relationships with other clubs now. It always used to be maybe one, maybe two clubs, but we've obviously got partnerships with Belfast and the Clan up the way, as it were, and certainly Witness seem to be taking a lot of Sharks young players as well to help them develop, and obviously our partnership with Edinburgh is there as well. Is that something you're looking to grow, or are we at the kind of optimum number of partnerships that we've got?
I don't think we'd ever turn down a discussion to create any more relationships and see. For me, it's got to work for everybody. Ultimately, it's got to be player centred. It has to be around what the player needs.
But also clubs that you rate and coaches that you trust and such like as well.
You've got to build a relationship if you've not already got one. Obviously, when you look at the clubs, Stephen and I grew up together. Joe played here, and that's how the Witness one started. Yeah. We've had the Glasgow one for a while, and I've various coaches we've had relationships with, but Gareth Chalmers has always been the guy that's probably driven it. And I've had a long-standing relationship with Gareth now. Myself and Peaks both know Adam Keefe and Steve Thornton, and obviously Peaks has got a relationship for playing there. So again, you wouldn't turn that down with their two coaches, between Kiefer and his coaching staff and Corey and his coaching staff. It would be wrong of us to turn down that kind of opportunity for our young players. So we're happy where we are. If something else materialised, whether it be up the way or kind of down the way, we're always open to talk, because it's important to get our young players on the ice playing games. But ultimately, it's also important now, especially that we're at this National League level, for the teams that we work with, especially play down the way, to understand that it's really valuable for them to be here, training and learning and working with the pros that we've got. And the partners we've got right now, that works perfectly. Like we're all very flexible, and we've created an open, honest environment, which is how we work here anyway. So I suppose we're probably quite happy right now, but we'd be wrong to turn down any other opportunity that may come our way, and at least discuss it, whether it be an Elite League team or NHL North or SNL.
So with 4 pre-season games to go, I know you're just going to say, I'm just focusing on the next match, but that's your immediate answer. Come on, give me the sensible answers here. What games are you looking forward to most?
I'm really looking forward to Saturday, if I'm honest. It's an old building.
In Murrayfield,
yeah, it's a place I've grown up. Obviously, that Fife Murrayfield derby for me. I actually made my Flyers debut at 15 against the Racers at the time. Wow. So that kind of derby will always hold something a wee bit special for me. I love the character of both, Fife and Edinburgh's rinks. So we're going to Murrayfield. I love the character of the rink. I know that their fan base is fantastic, and I'm pretty sure for hearing bits and bobs that we're going to take a decent travelling support, which is always good as well. So I'm looking forward to that, because I just think it's kind of old school building and adds a wee bit more. you always look forward to games in our place because it's home.
Yeah.
And you know, our fans are great and our building's great. And then you obviously the GB thing will be a little bit special as well because we've kind of built both teams, and
it's always good to see
see
young
how that
players
one
play though
goes,
as well, isn't it? That's
like
exciting.
I think we've got four good games. You know, it's Edinburgh are a good team. I think, you know, we said maybe we should flip it and we end up becoming almost the Glasgow for last weekend, but they're a good team. They work hard, and much like us last week, you know, players can put themselves, if they wanted to kind of move national or higher, they put themselves a bit in the shop window. And as I say, they're a really well run organisation. So I'm looking forward to just the 4 games. But Murrayfield in Murrayfield or Edinburgh in Murrayfield will be a
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that one as well. I want to see how Nolan and the likes do with that amount of space.
Well,
it should be good.
I think we'll be fine. You know, I think we'll enjoy it. I think we're built, as I say, we've always built ourselves on a bit of speed, bit of skill, a lot of ice to play with. So I think I think these guys, you know, I kind of fear at times for individuals when you've got somebody like John Dunbar with that much ice. And I think guys like Scotty and Younger and, you know, Cally can skate. The young guys can all skate. I think even at the back end, Olivier,
I know,
Kel, you know, Liam, Kersey, etc. They like to skate, so it should work for us.
A few power plays as well with that amount of space as well. It's just going to be good.
You know, it's that stock answer of kind of taking each game as it comes. Of course, we'll take each game as it comes, but I think there's 4 good games there, 4 exciting enough games that will be competitive, that will probably all have a little bit something different in each one of them.
But there's still tickets available for all games, and the Sharks doing Kids for a Quid on Sunday for the Edinburgh game, so there's not really any excuse to get yourself down here and watch some cracking hockey to set you up for the season. Yeah,
testament to obviously John and the management group that we're putting it out there, and you know that PR is out there of Kids for a Quid, because we constantly talk about that, you know, that Sharks family, the community, the kind of unique feel we've got about us. Well, you know, here's your chance. If you've been before, great. If you've never been before, you know, bring the family. It's a Sunday tea time. There's not a lot to do. You know, on a Sunday, people are always looking for something to do with the family, so there's no excuse now of I've got 2-3 kids. They're a quid each, as you say. So, you know, let's try and fill the place and show what we're all about in Dumfries.
And that offer also is open to Capitals fans. So, you know, if Sharks fans get this sent by message or share it, so that we get a whole load of Capital fans down to the Shark Tank as well. Edinburgh fans are great, they're loud, they travel in numbers, so I hope to see a whole load of Capital fans here, and hopefully over 1,000 in Murrayfield on Saturday as well. I can't wait, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think, as you say, if we can get both buildings, I think Edinburgh, we know, you know, they have built a great fan base, and I'd like to think they'll come out for this. Seeing us, you know, up there again, not been up there since we were last in SNL, so it's somebody new for them. You know, when it was the Racers at the time, we had a great little rivalry going with them here. Now it's the Caps. It's going to be the same. I think our fans hopefully will come out in numbers to see that game, and obviously they'll travel well, so two good weekends.
As I recall, I think the last time we played in Murrayfield, it might have been a Scott Henderson winner with under 10 seconds to go.
I want to say it was like 4 point.
I think I'm.
I think that was the night we ended up wrapping up that league officially.
Yep. That was an SNL win, that one.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, they knocked us out in the Cup that year. So we had some real ding-dong battles.
That was great.
And I don't see it being any different, I say, with Stephen and his team. It'll be, I think it will be, even for pre-season, I think it'll be fast, it'll be skillful, it'll be exciting. So 100%, both sets of fans get down, support your teams, and if it's anything like last weekend's atmospheres in either of the rinks, it's going to be a great weekend.
Well, here's hoping we're both free next week to do a podcast, and we can chat about the Capitals games. But thank you so much for joining me today, Martin. As always, the last word's going to go to you to speak to the Sharks fans.
Yeah, firstly, a massive thank you for last weekend. You know, we packed the Shark Tank, and you guys were loud, and I know Glasgow had numbers with them, but you know, the boys could hear you, and it was much appreciated. Over the next couple of weekends, enjoy the games again, try and pack the place out, and you just trust what we're trying to build, and we'll try and create this exciting brand of hockey as much as we can for you. So, just keep supporting us. Thanks for the support so far, and hopefully see you at the weekend.
Thanks for that, Martin, and thanks to everyone who's watching. If you can't get to the game on Saturday, on Sunday for the Capitals at home, I'll be commentating on the stream, so join me there if you can. This is Andy Glenn saying cheerio.